Welcome, Bulldog fans, to Week 10, Coach Adkins Show. Coach, got a couple questions for you. You've seen some of them, just to kind of give you some forethought. I have one you haven't seen. I'm just going to say one word, and I want you to tell me what it means to you and the team. November.
Well, it's definitely the theme of the week. We talk about November lights. That's something that's been a staple at this program, at this school, back in the Frank Dutton and the Tom Schallenberger days, and Coach Pogue kind of kept it going, and then certainly brought it, to this program, and we talk about it all the time, just what that tradition means of playing underneath the November lights. So we challenged our kids, this week with that theme, and again, we're going to talk about history here in a little bit, but the history of that theme and playing under the November lights is certainly, if we can do that, in next Friday or Saturday, be playing under the November lights, then we are going to make history. So it'll be pretty special. But yeah, November lights, there's nothing quite like it.
I always love throwing one in that you haven't seen. Before we kind of get into this week, let's just briefly recap last week against Quincy. How does a 7-8 team like that, very talented, prepare the team for what's coming into round one of the playoffs? How do they take that adversity and use it?
Yeah, I think adversity is the perfect word there. The 3-hour bus trip, we waited 25, 45 extra minutes for their senior night presentation. Warm-ups got cut short. Our entire routine was absolutely thrown off. And then the hostile environment, playing in an atmosphere with a crowd like that our kids haven't seen before. It did a lot of great things for us. And truthfully, I wouldn't change it for the world. I might change that senior night production. That's gotta change. That's gotta be different. But no, it was a great experience for our kids. We learned a lot. We certainly got better. And we saw some challenges and faced some adversity, like you had mentioned, that we hadn't seen yet this year. And so at the end of the day, when you can learn from a loss and get yourself better, like you mentioned, and get us prepared for what hopes to be a deep playoff run, again, it was great for our kids, great for our team. Moving forward, and certainly has prepared us for this really good Triad ball club that's coming into play.
I do have one more we didn't preview to you, and it just kind of came to mind for the dedicated Bulldog fans like Dan and I. We were watching the game. You guys pulled out some plays that we had never seen before. Talk about how you prepare for that. That halfback pass was just brilliant. Everyone bid on that. How do you determine those kinds of plays, and when do you know to use them?
Yeah, no, and again, credit to our coaching staff and what they do in game plan and prep. Some of those plays you saw Friday night have been in the playbook since day one or week one, and we just kind of rep them every week. You might even see some this Friday that, again, have kind of been repped every week and just kind of called it maybe at the right time. Certainly have been set up. Whether it's in-game or maybe the previous weeks, done a couple things to get that defense or that other team to maybe think that we're going to do that again, and then that's kind of when we hit them with the extra or the trick play, so to speak. But, yeah, it was a great call at the right time. We had a few of them. The onside kick was incredible. I could go on for days, again, just about the way that our coaching staff prepares and then the way that our kids show up and execute. It was awesome. Again, back to your first question you had there, like we had a 7A team who's now the fourth-ranked team in Class 7A. We had them on the ropes, 35-33, had the ball. I don't know that you could have asked for much more than that. Again, being on the road and in that type of game, we kind of let one slip away there, unfortunately. But again, so many great things that we took away, and so many teaching moments that we can learn from and get better as well.
Regular season's over. Let's talk about playoffs. You've talked a lot of this year and throughout your coaching career about earning your opportunity, earning your chance. What does it feel like to be sitting as a team on Saturday night and you hear the name called that you're in, who you're playing? Kind of talk about that in atmosphere.
Yeah, it's incredibly special. And again, I coach multiple sports. I love all sports. But you know, the thing about football is you have to earn your right to the postseason, you know. And again, I mean, no disrespect to any other sports, but most other sports automatically get an opportunity, you know, at postseason play. In the game of football, you have to earn it. They only take a select 256 teams, and you have to have a certain record to be able to get in. So that right there in itself, I think, is what makes it special, right? Whenever you hear your name called, it's that realization of, you know, we're one of 256 teams in the entire state of Illinois. I told the kids on Monday, I said, there's so many other teams packing and turning in their equipment right now. You know, we get the opportunity for another week of practice and preparation and certainly another game. So it's extremely special to hear your name called. Unfortunately, due to some IHSA technical difficulties, we didn't hear our name called this Saturday. They had a glitch in their system, and so it wasn't playing over the NFHS network, unfortunately, but we still had the boys over. I knew even beforehand who we were going to play, so whenever the technical difficulties happened and it didn't, you know, we didn't hear our name announced, I was still able to announce it to the kids of who we were going to play and the fact that we were going to be at home. So again, at the end of the day, knowing that you get an opportunity to spend time with those kids, I brought them over to the house. The Bulldog Gridiron Club fed them pizza. We had a great night just being together. And again, having the opportunity to know that we're still playing football is pretty special. So even though we didn't hear our name announced, maybe I announced it to them, and so that kind of made it special, knowing that we're one of 256.
And speaking of which, you know, we talked about regular season's over. You know, in the regular season, you win, you lose a couple. It's really no big deal. You get back up, you get another game coming. Doesn't impact the season overall, apart from, you know, maybe some frustration or pride or something. We're in a win or die situation. You got Triad this week, 6-3, I believe. Yep. What kind of challenges do they present for the team coming in? And they're familiar. What was it, 2 years ago we saw them? What kind of challenges do they present to the team, and how have we prepared for them?
Yeah, they present a lot. You know, they're really big up front. They're physical. They're mean and nasty. They fly around defensively. You'll see their linebackers are true, what we would call old school linebackers. They fill really hard, and again, they just play an aggressive, physical style of play. Their quarterback is incredibly dynamic. You know, last week we probably saw the best passer that we've seen so far this season. In my opinion, I think this Friday we're going to see the best all-around, most dynamic quarterback that we've seen yet this season. He can put the ball on a rope 30 yards down the field, and his scrambling ability is again, unlike anything that we've seen this year. So he's going to present some challenges himself. And again, I mentioned, you know, kind of what they did do defensively might give us a few challenges here and there. But like you said, you know, we're fairly familiar with them, and seeing them 2 years ago, they can say the same about us. They've been on this field before. They've taken this long bus trip before. They know what our locker room is like. So they're familiar with this situation and task at hand on Friday as well. But again, our kids know what's at stake. They know the win or go home, you know, do or die aspect, like you mentioned, but they also know that we're trying to chase history. We're playing for something that's incredibly important and really big that hasn't been done in this town ever. And our kids know that they're up for the challenge. We talked about protecting the house, right? It's our theme this year, and we haven't lost at home. And again, I know that our kids know that, and they're gamers. They're going to show up on Friday and for 4 quarters give it everything they got. And at the end of the day, you know, we talk about you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and answer the question of, did I lay it all out there? Did I give it my all for us to be successful? And the great kids that we have, I'm confident that they're going to be able to answer yes to that question.
We've talked and joked off camera about superstitions. We kind of give you a little hard time sometimes. Are there any personal superstitions you have surrounding playoff, or is it Yeah, that's my question, John.
Yeah, so I do have a lot of superstitions, but none more so in the playoffs. I don't add an extra superstition because it's week 10. I still have the same crazy mini that I always have. But again, I don't want to say it's just another game because it's not. It's more meaningful, right? We've talked about that so far, but. You know, I just continue to do the same superstitions. And again, it's my own crazy fault. It's something as simple as I got to eat Jimmy John's on Friday. Like I don't change that. I don't go to Subway because it's playoff time. And I definitely don't. And again, no offense to Subway or Jimmy John's. I'm not getting paid to say Jimmy John's. But since I was a kid in high school and a quarterback, I went and got Jimmy John's every day. It was close right to our field. So that's just one of my superstitions. But no, I don't add anything extra. I don't do anything special. Matter of fact, I'm trying to wean off the superstitions. Believe it or not, I have less now than I ever have in my entire life, so that's a good thing. I'm getting better at this as I'm getting older. But no extra added superstition. It is another game. It is another high school football game for us. It's another opportunity to play at home at Frank Dutton Field in front of our fans, which we're incredibly excited to be here, to be back home. We know that the place is going to be rocking, and we're excited for it, right? We talked to the kids about you've earned this opportunity to be back at home because of what you've done this season. So we're excited. We know our fans are excited, and can't wait for Friday.
Well, we were going to cancel this week's Coach Adkins show, but we didn't want that cloud of superstition hanging over you. Appreciate that, Coach. That's a wrap for this week. If you're local here, come in, support the team here at Frank Dutton Field. If you're not in town, tune in to Bulldog TV, and we'll see you Friday night.